Welcome back, everyone. You're with us for a deep dive that's, well, a bit different today. We're stepping away from the usual data and diving into objects, things that might just carry a bit more than material value.
Exactly. We're looking into items with these reputations, stories of misfortune clinging to them, cursed objects, basically.
Right. And it makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About stories, belief, and how they attach to, well, things.
We've gathered accounts on some really infamous ones today.
We have quite the lineup. We'll be looking into the Dybbuk Box. Looks like a wine cabinet, but the story is unsettling.
Mm-hmm. And Annabelle. Not the movie one, the original Raggedy Ann doll. The real story is quite something.
Definitely different. Then there's the Hope Diamond. Gorgeous, yeah, but with this incredibly long shadow of alleged bad luck.
Centuries of it, apparently. We've also got Robert the Doll People, call him the original haunted doll. Needs manners, apparently.
He needs manners. Okay. And finally, the Busby Stoop chair. Sounds harmless. It's not, according to the legend.
So a real mix. Everyday items, priceless jewels, each with these really heavy stories attached.
Our goal here isn't to say, yep, these are cursed. It's more about exploring the lore, the reported effects, what people claim happened, laying it all out.
Exactly. Presenting the accounts clearly, letting you think about it. So where should we start? The Dybbuk Box.
Let's do it. So the Dybbuk Box, picture this. Small wooden wine cabinet. You'd walk right past it, probably.
Totally unassuming. But the story, it's supposed to hold a Dybbuk. That's from Jewish folklore, right? A sort of restless, maybe angry spirit.
Yeah, like it's trapped inside. A spear prison, almost.
And this whole thing really blew up when it hit eBay, didn't it? That's when the story started spreading like wildfire.
Oh, absolutely. The seller and subsequent owners reported some seriously disturbing stuff. Not just feeling creeped out, but...
Like what? What kind of things?
Recurring nightmares, seeing shadows, unexplained smells, but also really serious things. Reports of financial loss, health problems, even strokes linked to owning it.
Wow. Okay, that's intense. You always wonder how much is suggestion, but that's a consistent pattern of pretty bad experiences.
It really is. And inside, they supposedly found things like an old wine goblet, a candlestick, dried flowers, and apparently a couple locks of hair.
The little personal items, almost like remnants, it just adds to the feeling that something was meant to be contained.
And the core idea, the sort of operating instructions for the curse, if you will, is don't open it.
Right. Opening it lets the bad stuff out. Classic Pandora's box scenario, really.
It is, that forbidden object thing.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, why are we drawn to that potential danger, the unknown?
It's a deep question, isn't it? That pull towards things that might even be harmful. Curiosity versus caution. And maybe, our tendency to see patterns, even in chaos, like apophenia, connecting dots that might not actually be there.
That's a great point. Finding meaning where there might be none. Okay? From a box to a doll.
Annabelle.
Ah, yes. But crucially, the real Annabelle, not the porcelain horror movie version. Exactly. The sources are clear. She's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Soft, yarn hair, button eyes, totally different vibe.
Which honestly makes the stories even creepier, doesn't it? This innocent-looking thing linked to, well, pretty dark activity.
Totally. We're talking claims the doll moved by itself. Left notes like parchment notes with childish writing saying, "Help us."
Yeah, the notes are particularly weird. And wasn't there something even more physical?
There was. A really chilling account documented by the Warrens of it allegedly trying to strangle someone.
Yeah.
A friend who was staying over.
Okay, that goes way beyond a creepy doll. That's actively hostile. How does a simple doll get tied to that kind of fear?
Right. And where is she now? Locked up.
In the Warrens Occult Museum, yeah. Behind glass, big sign.
Positively do not open. They're not messing around.
Speaks volumes, doesn't it? The level of containment for a doll.
And even locked away, people interact with it. Visitors tap the glass. Apparently some mock her. And then
they report bad things happening to them afterwards. Accidents, bad luck.
That's the story. Which really makes you think about belief suggestion.
Absolutely. How much does knowing the legend prime you for a negative experience? Does focusing on it, even mocking it, give it power somehow? Or is it just coincidence amplified by fear? The story itself becomes potent.
It's fascinating. Okay, shifting gears completely from contained dolls to a giant glittering diamond.
The Hope Diamond. Now that's an object with presence. 45 carats, deep blue, fiery sparkle. Stunning.
Absolutely beautiful. But oh, the reputation.
Notorious is the word. One source actually said it killed more people than smallpox, which is dramatic, but gets the point across.
Definitely hyperbole, but yeah, it highlights this centuries-old belief. Owning the Hope Diamond brings disaster. How does that even start with a gemstone?
Well, the list of alleged victims is long and covers a lot of ground. You hear stories about royalty who owned it, like Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. Well, we know how that ended.
Yeah, beheaded. Not great.
Then heirs dying in freak accidents, owners losing fortunes, suicides. One collector supposedly jumped off a building. It's just this trail of misfortune.
Could just be history happening around a famous object, but the sheer volume of stories is something. The narrative is powerful.
It spans centuries, continents, gets embellished, retold, becomes this legendary cursed item. Even if you can't prove cause and effect, the story itself is undeniable.
So where is this incredibly valuable, potentially lethal gem now?
Safe and sound, Smithsonian, behind very thick bulletproof glass, maximum security.
So does that break the curse? If you can't touch it, can it still get you?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Like Annabelle, is the danger neutralized by the glass cage? Or does the belief, the story, still hold sway? Can a curse persist even when the object is untouchable? Maybe the story itself is the curse now.
Gives you pause. Okay, let's go back to dolls for a moment. To Robert.
Ah, Robert the doll. The
Yes.
OG haunted doll, as one source put it. He's been around a while.
Since the early 1900s, right? Belonged to a boy in Key West named Eugene Otto. Gene, they called him.
Yeah, and stories often start like that, with kids. Blurring lines between imagination and something else. Kids get attached to toys.
Very true. And Gene claimed Robert talked to him.
Yeah.
But also, he blamed Robert for things going wrong. Broken vase. Robert did it. Messy room. Robert did it.
Must have been convenient. But it wasn't just Jane, was it?
No. Neighbors supposedly reported seeing Robert moving around in the windows of the house when the family wasn't even home. That kind of thing adds layers to the legend.
Corroboration, even anecdotal, makes it stick. Shared stories reinforcing the belief.
So where's Robert causing trouble now?
He's retired to a museum, the Fort East Martella Museum in Key West. But visiting him, it's not like seeing just any exhibit.
Right, there are rules.
Protocols.
You have to be respectful. Introduce yourself, be polite, and this is the big one.
Yeah.
You must ask permission before taking his picture.
Ask the doll for permission, okay?
Apparently, yes. Treat him like, well, like he's listening.
And if you don't, if you're rude or sneak a photo, get this. The legend says you might get a letter from Robert, usually complaining about your lack of manners and demanding an apology.
No way. A letter. That's oddly specific and kind of passive-aggressive for a haunted doll.
It's unique, isn't it? It gives them this weird sense of agency. It makes you wonder how many people claim they've actually received one. It really taps into how we give objects meaning, personality almost.
Yeah, I am definitely not testing that theory. Okay, last one, and maybe the most mundane looking. The Busby Stoop chair.
Just a plain old oak chair, right? Looks like something you'd find in any old pub.
Exactly. But the story behind it, that's the chilling part. It belonged to a guy named Thomas Busby back in 1702.
And Busby. Well, he wasn't exactly a model citizen. He was convicted of murder. And right before they hanged him.
He cursed the chair. His favorite chair, apparently.
A very specific curse, too. Basically, anyone who dares to sit in his chair will die suddenly.
Yikes. Talk about holding a grudge.
He's-
Death by sitting.
And the unnerving thing is the list of people who supposedly did sit in it and then died, the stories piled up over the centuries.
Like who? What kind of accidents?
Airmen during World War II who sat in it reportedly never returned from missions. Later, pub patrons, locals, tourists, car crashes, sudden illnesses, freak accidents. Dozens of deaths are linked to it in the lore.
It's a lot of coincidence, if that's all it is. It's
Yeah.
hard to just brush off that many stories connected to one chair.
It really is. So what do you do with a chair like that?
You bolt it to the wall, apparently, high up.
Yep. It's in the Thirst Museum in North Yorkshire, hanging 5 feet off the floor so nobody can accidentally sit on it. Ever again.
That's taking the curse seriously. Bolting a chair to a wall. It
Mhm.
really shows the power these stories gain over time.
It absolutely does. Even in a museum, the fear persists. It kind of perfectly sums up our whole deep dive today, doesn't it? Maybe some objects really do soak up something more than just history.
You know, out of all of them, maybe it's the chair that gets me the most.
Yeah.
It's so ordinary. The idea of death by chair. No, thank you.
It definitely sticks with you, and it circles back to that main idea. Maybe some objects aren't just inert matter. Maybe they absorb things, hold on to echoes, they remember or attach, or wait, like you said earlier.
It makes you look at that dusty antique in the corner a little differently, doesn't it? Could it just be old? Or could it have baggage?
Indeed. Which leads us to the final thought to leave you all with today. Are these objects, actually cursed? Possessed by some force?
Or is it the stories,
Hmm.
the belief we pour into them, the fear that gets passed down? Is that what gives them their power?
Where does the object end and the narrative begin? Maybe the real mystery lies in that blurry line between the thing itself and the powerful story we tell about it.
Something to definitely chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.